Yes, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. Welcome. I'm Ewan Spence. This is the Retro Spectrum channel once more, looking at the classics from the ZX Spectrum. The occasional bit of retro when I feel it. But for now, nope, it's all still Spectrum. So, this week is one of my favourite sporting events coming up, and in a shameless way of stealing the SEO keyword traffic, I've decided to review the ZX Spectrum version. This was a groundbreaking title, both in the arcades when it released in 1987 and then when it made it onto the 8-bit home consoles in the UK and Europe in 1988. It is one of the quintessential driving games. Its influence can be seen throughout the rest of the run of developments of the driving game, and certainly the into the screen driving game on the ZX Spectrum. And we're going to have a look at it now. And if you've not worked out where we're going with this one, let me introduce you to WEC Le Mans. Yes, from Imagine Software in 1988, from the arcade game from Konami in 1987. That means I've done Konami previously with Green Beret, and now with this one. That's coincidence. This is purely a timing thing because it's Le Mans this weekend. Okay, so this is not a perfect split screen, wonderful driving experience with a huge multiplayer. This is a single screen arcade into the screen game. Yet it is exciting and thrilling, and it's not quite Le Mans, but for its time, it is revolutionary. It's quite a hard game, and we don't have wheels or anything. Driving games are meant to be hard, but this was especially hard. But like Green Beret, the previous title, it does have that sense of you can get a little bit further. Not as much as Green Beret, but there's a lot going on here. So we're going to start off with the 48K version. I'm going to play 1 through, and then I'm going to switch over to the 128K version, just so you can get a feel of the difference of the game. Because there are two things, and one of them it's a nice cosmetic thing, and one of them is that really does change up everything that's going on just now. So we'll head over to our Spectrum, which is currently in the classic 48K mode, and bring up WEC Le Mans. Okay, so I got to watch the controls on this one here, which is much spectacular. We are on our Kempston joystick. There we go there, and we shall start the game. Prepare to start the race. So you have left and right to see you left and right. You have forward, which will put your foot on the accelerator. Back, which will put your foot off the accelerator. So what you're actually doing with forward and backward is not holding down to accelerate. Is you're deciding where your foot is. So I'm not holding any of the speed controls. It's holding at 140 miles an hour. We've got a high-low gear as well, which is triggered by the fire button. But you then need to remember to put your foot down as well. So let's just do that. And we'll get us up to our top speed in our Group C car at the Le Mans 24 Hour. Now, things to note about this game. Your steering is analog, and you can see in the bottom right of the screen how much steering input you've got on. So you can just hold a little bit of the right wheel. You just do that. That there is some wonderful pixel detection there from the car. And you'll notice the track is really, really narrow. It's only 3 cars wide for those of you keeping track. Extended play. So you've got to be really careful overtaking cars, which in a way is kind of what you expect. The collision detection is kind of 3D, it's kind of spot on, so you want to give everything a fairly wide berth. So, you've got to watch. Your overtake is not a guarantee, so you are going to be shifting around a lot. And what I'd point out here is keep an eye on that speedometer as we go around, because these corners, you don't want to be going around at top speed. You want to be going fast, but you maybe just want to trim off just a little speed as you go around some of these corners, especially when you've got a switchback chicane going through there as well. And then when you've got another car, sometimes it's probably just a little bit safer just to follow a car through the corners rather than try and overtake as you go around the bend, which, again, if you know you're racing, is probably a really good decision. So 9 seconds to go, 8 seconds to go, 7 seconds to go. Thankfully the clock stops as it puts you back onto the track. But am I going to be close enough to get the extend? Just. by less than a second there. I'm going to look forward to roll that back there and see how much spare time we had. So we got full throttle round the corner here. A long sweeping left-hander. Those of you who know the Le Mans circuit will go, there isn't a long sweeping left-hander. And this is going to be something that I'm going to talk about a little bit more when we move to the 128K version of the game. Because yes, it's Le Mans. Yes, it's authorized. But it's not quite the Le Mans circuit. There are a couple of things that are missing, that aren't in the right place. Spun again with 13 seconds to go. I don't know where I am in the lap or how far we have to go. So 4 seconds. Nope, we're not going to get it right. We're not going to round out us. So the fun thing here is when you do crash out of the game in terms of time, you'll see how close you go. Now, let's have a look at this now, because this is a good point to bring up my point. Oh, it's gone! Right, okay, next time that comes around, we'll pause it and I'll explain what's going on, because that's not the Le Mans circuit. There are, even in my head, I've done things like Gran Turismo. I've watched the race many years. That's not what you would expect to see. I could be on my high score in here, but there's something else I want to do first, and that is to switch over to the 128K version. So that's going to involve me just handing over and switching models here on the Spectrum to get ready to go. How do you know it's not Le Mans? The corners are in the wrong place. It doesn't go wrong. Sweeping left-hander, really? Where? There's a nice right-hander as you come off the start-finish line, which has the curvy tyre, which you can see in the splash screen, which we've got up here. But you don't have that on the start. Anyway, 128K version, which is slightly easier to play, even though the gameplay is pretty much identical. And the reason for that will already be sounding clear. So we've got the multiple sound chip from the 128K in use going on here. We'll select our Kempson joystick again. And we're going to the game, and you will hear the difference. Prepare to start the race. There we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, we've got sound. Yep. Because of the extra sound capabilities you have on the 128K machines, that's the 128K, the plus 2, plus 2A, you actually get some sounds. And that just gives you a sort of audible cue of where the engine is. Okay, so we've done a right-hand turn after start-finish. This straight is just incredibly long. That's not the Le Mans straight. We've got a left-right chicane. Okay, so I could possibly argue that if we're keeping things back in the sort of mid-1980s circuit, we're now on the long back straight at Le Mans. But then we've got this, what are you doing here, right-hander. We're not quite sure what that is. We're back into a much longer straight. We got spare 25 seconds this time, so a little bit more than last time. So it's not the Le Mans circuit. You can maybe, if I sat down and had a look at the actual map from the game, and I've looked over the hints and tips pages from the publications at the time to see whether you'd actually... You forced me off the road, you Sebastian Vettel, you. To have a look at the magazines at the time to see if there was actually a this is what the circuit is you're driving on. If we're just counting left and right, then, you know, I'm not quite sure where it should be. This should be me coming up to Indianapolis now. And in which case we'd expect really slow left hand after this one. Oh, which we are getting straight away. So it might be taking left and right, and if that's the case, we're going to have a short run down to Arnage. No, that's it, and I'm losing all my focus on where I think we would be. So it's good, but it's not quite right yet. We're definitely not where there, because if we're following a sort of same right-left pattern, that left-hand corner would have been to the right. So yeah, kind of have a extended play, 48 seconds to go. So was anybody watching what we were like last time on the 48K version when I got to this point? because we were like 2 of those final circles away. There is just no corner like that at Le Mans. Right, okay, that's not fair. Because at the time we have to talk about the graphics. We have to talk about the spectrum, especially as a racing machine. The amount of graphic work that's going on here, because there's a lot. Are you going to slide me off as well? I presume that. No, that's my own fault. That one there. 12 seconds. Still not going. Remember to pause this when we get to the circuit map as well, assuming that I don't manage to reach lap 2. Went to another. No, we didn't. Right. Okay. Got to remember to press pause in this one. That'll give me time to mention a couple of things as well. So we're slightly less there as well. Lap 1, 13 something. I think that's the most distance. This you kind of have to think you're taking a lot of liberties with Le Mans circuit here. You do have that long straight along the back, which you could argue is there, and then you've got your tight turn at the bottom. And yeah, I can see what that map is trying to do. It's not perfect, but that I think is all I'm going to say in terms of fairness of circuit accuracy, because it's not something I would have expected at the time. Close but no cigar, because you've really only got that sort of constant radius corners. What I want to talk about next is we want to talk about the sort of graphics and everything that's going on, because you can see it plays incredibly smoothly once you unpause it. There we go. And yeah, it's when you kind of have to learn the car, learn out the distance, measures and distance. Okay, it's E X. Yes. There we go. Right then, so we'll start the game. Here we go again. Number 3. So we're going to pause this once we get just a little bit of the way on the way, and I want to pause it about here. So let's just. Nope, that's the reset button. That's not what I wanted. Classy. That's fine. Thankfully, no, we don't want to do redefine keys. You know what? I'm just going to reload you again. There we go. Kempston, which is 2. Start game. Right. Forget that last bit. Everything went fine. That's great. Okay. This is probably a good point to pause there. Right. Now, why have I paused here? Now, those of you who know your Spectrum games, can I just point out 2 things to you, and that is Chase HQ and Power Drift. The programming team behind WEC Le Mans didn't stay together. Some of them went on to do Power Drift, which would be one of the big titles from Activision 1989. Some of the others went on to do Chase HQ, which was the big Ocean title in 1989 as well. They went head-to-head at Christmas. I remember that because I actually asked for both of them. In actual fact, I was getting the same bit of code, because this sort of black and yellow curbing that you have at the side of the rope, you then have the shading of the black and yellow at the side door to give you speed. You've got a sort of ray trace. That's not what I mean. Your side graphic, which is available in various different sizes to get the perspective, and your high-low gear in your bottom corner there. Those, if you go and look at Chase HQ and Power Drift, you realise that they're exactly the same. Power Drift, even right down to the gear shift change. Chase HQ doesn't have that. It has the high-low at the top of the display, and I suspect that was there so it didn't look exactly like WEC Le Mans. But the team behind WEC Le Mans, who let's see, Mike Lamb, John Mullins, Jonathan Dunn, Bill Harbison, and Alec Burrell, according to World of Spectrum. John Mullins, Clive Paul. Clive Paul's not in there, but John Mullins was also on Power Drift as well as WEC Le Mans, and Jonathan Dunn was also from WEC Le Mans and on Chase HQ. So, obviously the technique used to create a proper 3D game, rolling graphics, smooth arcade action, was perfected in those games, but it starts at WEC Le Mans, which in a way is kind of nice, because WEC Le Mans itself was a championship road race. It was made up to improve the reliability of cars in the 20s and 30s. The car had to go through 24 hours of driving for it to be a good car, to be seen as something that was worthwhile and that customers would like to buy. So, yeah, there you go. WEC Le Mans on the Spectrum, doing exactly the same as Le Mans did when it was first started back in the early 20th century. And I'll say early 20th century because I don't quite have my dates to hand here. Let's just get ourselves through the section. Yeah, and you hear, thanks to the 128K sound, that we are working the engine and the speed to get around these corners. And trying to stay behind that car until I got onto the straight. Okay, so we'll do this one. Let's see if we can get one lap done, shall we? One complete lap of the Le Mans circuit, and I'll put on my best Steve McQueen impression. For those of you who do like following along, it is this weekend, the actual thing, but also the 1970s Le Mans film, which has almost no talking in it, dialogue. It's always worth a look at this time of year as well. I'll be doing my annual watch on Friday night ahead of the actual race. I don't want to come into the corner next to you, so I'm just going to swing out to this side. There we go. Whether that's going to cost me, you know, what's missing really is just the distance to go. I would really appreciate that. You know, whether I need to push hard to get past the car to try and make the extended play, or whether I can just, you know, take it easy and sit behind them. Of course, given time, I would probably know the circuit. And no, so we're 7 seconds, 55 seconds left. I think it's the most I've had at this point yet. This is, no, you're going to take me out, aren't you? Yeah, you're going to take me out. Remember to move down to low gear. Change up at about 120, or when it sounds right. And just lots of traffic, just getting in the way. 2 crashes again. I think that will stop me getting to the end. Just remember to switch around. Please get past before the next corner. Yes. Cut underneath. Oh, nice move, nice move, nice move. Cut underneath. Stay in the right hand lane. Not quite made it. So first time around we had 2 lights left to go, then we had 3 lights left to go. We're now inches away. Stay with me as I try once more. So we did 13 that last time. 13.6 that time. So close. So close. It sounds like a show tune. That's probably because it is a show tune. We kind of done the review, but I'm going to stick with this and give it another go. But for those of you who are listening for a recommendation, yes, WEC Le Mans. It's a critical part in the development of the Spectrum driving game. It's a great game to boot. You can see that it's not just slam and power left and right. You've got to think about your speed, your car acceleration, your cornering, your timing. You will get better over time as you learn the circuit, and there is a always constant challenge. And because you actually end up driving in dusk and then just driving through the night, and driving through the night in this is, I remember that when I was younger, you've only got the headlights, so you've really got to know the track by the time it comes around for night drive, because you can't just look at the distance to see what's coming up. I've got to try and get in the middle lane of the traffic here. That's not going to let me. I really need to get past them at the start. Oh, part of me thinking I'll just hit reset and just go again, but no, let's play it fairly. Last run through. You know, I could sit and practice these, and this is probably one for the comments actually. I could sit and practice these games before we go out onto the play. I'd give them a sort of cursory play to check all the controls are working and make sure that I don't get anything horribly wrong. But I don't sit there and try and perfect the game and complete understanding of the mechanics. But if I reset, I lose where I'm in the high score table. Oh. This is not a good lap. So you know what? I'm just going to slam the brakes on actually. I'm going to slam the brakes on and let the time run out. That's probably going to be easier. Driver, start to the pits. They're like 7 miles away. Can another go? Can you stay with me with another go? God, please. 4.4. That's not going to get me on the high score. It's not going to get me on the high score table. No, let's try that again. Might not talk as much this time. Okay? Intense look. Intense look. Yes! Haha! Cut through them. And that's... should make this overtake a little bit easier. Excellent. Yep. I'm going to call that a bit of Dunlop curves in my head. Yeah, just slow down mid corner to make sure. I'm going to stay behind you till we get onto the stray. I don't trust you. There we go. Round we go. You know, I was thinking about that. I was thinking, well, I'm going to go to the outside, I'm going to go to the inside. And I thought, no. Now I'm going to get past this car again. Because WEC Le Mans remembers the cars that are behind you, as well as the cars that are in front of you. Command. Yeah, inside line, there we go. Okay, go the inside of the track. Because we are running anti-clockwise here. Watch your signs at the side of the road. I've got my sweet, we can put the foot down on that one. Catch you in the corner, I don't like that. Don't like that at all. There he is, back in front of me again. Okay. Oh, it clipped with a car overtaking me. And that deserves a screenshot right there. Oh, well done, well done, well done. Right. Okay, so that is WEC Le Mans, programmed by the team and Imagine, who went on to do lots of other exciting stuff for the Spectrum, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point. I'm not going to do Power Drift from Chase's Cruise, the very next one, because it's kind of like looking at the same code, but with less finesse. It has to be said, the collision detection, the race mechanics are still slightly better on WEC Le Mans than they are on the other two. What do I have on the list? I think I've got Splat up next on the list, so that's going to be our next review. You can follow that over at twitch.tv/UNSpence, or it'll be posted up on YouTube at Retro Spectrum. But for now, thank you all very much for watching my review of WEC Le Mans for the ZX Spectrum. And it is not only recommended, it is a highly recommended. There's a lot of strategic thinking and gameplay and learning. And yeah, difficulty curve is there as well. That's what you'd expect on the Spectrum. But certainly something that you want to keep coming back to again and again. Ta-ra for now.